What is going on, traders, and welcome back to IFX. And today we're going to talk about the dashboard, all the different settings. How is it going to improve your trading? But right now, if you can see, the dashboard is totally different compared to the previous ones. I have added a lot of new features into it. We have kind of changed the design to it so we can fit more pairs. Right now, we have a lot of more space to be able to fit more pairs and be able to also fit a lot more columns if you want to. Also, right now, the performance is much better compared to the previous one. So as you can tell, all the M5 and M15 blocks are not light up, meaning that it just gonna give you, if it lights up, that means it's a new fresh block, right? And this is the pair, so this is pretty much just giving you a heads up, the pair that just had a recent block on M5 or M15, or even on the H1 or H4 or whatever, right? So the H1 and H4 blocks are always going to stay there so that you can actually see what type of trend, or if it's a bullish trend or a bearish trend, so that when you get a block on M5 or M15, you're going to be able to tell, hey, actually I want to go with the H1 trend. I'm looking for a bearish block. So if you get a bullish block, like let's say for New Zealand dollar, you got a bullish block in here, and on M5 reversal block and trend block. So if everything's bearish, so that means that we can just hold on right now on this type of entry right now. But more of this lesson right now is more about the settings, how we can understand the dashboard. So we have a lot of things in here that I want you to stay put. Also, I just want you to understand, this is the type of alerts that you're going to get. So if it's a reversal block, sell alert, bearish block, it's going to tell you the pair and the time frame, right? So if it's reversal block, it's also going to give you a retest. So if it's a retest of that reversal block on Australian dollar, on M5, stuff like that. So this is the type of alerts that you're going to get when you get on using the dashboard. So you can use the dashboard for multiple ways. You can use it just to get alerts on your phone or your empty phone, and then you just quickly go check your charts. Or you can actually analyze this ahead of time and kind of have an idea what is it that you're looking for. And so again, we're just going to talk about the settings. So if I right click in here, we're gonna have the chance now. This is now an EA, so we're gonna go to properties, and right over here we have the pairs list, right? So right here you can type in all the pairs that you actually going to use. So you can use as many as you want, 20 or 15 or just 5, whatever it is that you want. But just one reminder that when you are, some brokers at the end of the pair sometimes ends with like pro or like mini, so you have to make sure you type that in as well, so that way that is going to work. So if you don't type in and your pair does not, it's just like that without this, then it's not going to work. So you have to make sure you add it in, and then you type a comma, and then you type in the next pair, as many as you want, right? So you have to understand that, very, very important that you do that. Also, you can only trade any pairs that actually come up on your watch list, right? So this is your market watch right now. So the main thing that you need to do is you have to always go here, right click, and then show all, and that way, if you type in your pairs in here, it's going to actually take it in. Otherwise, if it's not going to show in here, then it's not going to show on the dashboard. So let me just show you in here, Australian.pro. That means that is the suffix. You have to type it in. If you don't have this, then it's not going to work in here, okay? So it's very, very important that you actually do that. So let's keep on getting on the settings. So we have the pairs list, dashboard window. So we can have actually the dashboard to show as it is right now as a main window, especially when you're looking at many, many pairs. But if you only want to look at one pair, so what you could do is you could put it here, separate window. And what is that going to do? I'm going to show you an example, is that it's going to add it on just whatever chart that you're looking at, if you want to see it on that chart. And, you can just put in, H4 and H1 block just to kind of see what's the trend, you know, when you're actively trading at the charts, and you can add it in there. And then if you change any time frame or if you change any pair, it's going to automatically update. So I'm going to show you that later on. So here, this is your sound alerts. This is your push notification. So you can just say false. You know, if you don't want to get any alerts at all, you can just press that to fall. Right over here, we have retest allowed. So this is the retest right here, the retest column. So this M15 retest column is going to belong to this column on the left, which is the reversal block M15, right? So this is the retest alert. So sometimes we get a block and the market would retest it multiple times. Could be one time or could be even 5 times. It all depends on market conditions. So if it's ranging, it might really test a lot of times. So, you know, this is up to you how many retests you want to get per block, right? So if you only want 2 retests, then that's it. You're just gonna allow just 2 retests. Even if it gives more, you're just gonna allow it 2, and then that's it. Or if you're just gonna allow it only 1, so that's really up to you. Have it up to 5, you know, just to kind of give it a chance to maybe I see the market is ranging and see if there's any opportunity in there, right? So right over here, this is all your alerts, right? So if you don't want to get an M5, you know, alerts, you know, any retests or anything like that, you're just gonna make that to false and only pick and choose the one that you actually want to select, right? But you have to also be very careful that if you have this to false and then you happen to choose a column, then that's, you know, you might not get the alert in that because you might have the column, but you might have this to false. Okay, so let's say M trend block. Right here we have the M5 reversal block, right? The R is the reversal block and then the T is the trend block. Okay, I cannot type it all because it's not going to fit. So right over here, M5 trend block alerts. If I say that to false, this I should not be able to get alerts. It might light up in here, but I might not get the alert on the MT4. Okay, so you know, just be careful on that. You know, if you want to get alerts and you have this to false, you know, so I just might as well just keep this as true just in case, right? So I have this is all the alerts for every single column, right? Every single time frame for retests and trends and reversal blocks. So everything is in there. Then right over here, we're going to have the alerts text, right? So if you want to change this to anything that you would like, you can actually type it in here and then type it in here, whatever it is that you would like to show you when you get the alert right over here, right? So it would this would be what changes. Sell alert, bearish block. This is going to stay, but this is what is going to change. So if you want to change that text whatsoever, that you know you want to have something else, you can actually do so and change it yourself in here, and then it's going to automatically update, right? Then right over here, new chart template. This is at default. This is a template that you have to save as default. I highly suggest just to keep the blocks and a moving average and something very simple. Do not add crazy indicators because it's going to conflict with the dashboard. So what does that mean? New chart template. So what this means is that when I get an alert and I don't have the charts right here at the bottom of my MT4, then I can just quickly click in here and it's going to open a new chart for me, right? So here it is. This is my chart right over here. So very simple. And then that's it, right? I just have my blocks and then, you know, just few indicators in here. And then I can just, if I want to trade it, then I can just trade it. But then, like I said, all you have to do is keep it simple because it might conflict on your end, right? So we go back in here and then you can just open, you know, click on the pair that you want to open and then you just click it and it's going to open for you. Okay, so that's one of very cool features in this dashboard. Okay, so right now, all right, it's going crazy. It's lighting up like crazy. We have retest alerts, we have trend blocks and reversal blocks and everything going on in here. Okay, so let's say right over here, you know, I'm like, oh, this is looking good, a lot of bullish in here. So all I do is I go to Australian yen and then see what is going on if I would like to buy in here. And then so all I do is I click in here, maybe I go to M15 and we got the reversal blocks in here, right? This is for M15. So Australian yen reversal block right here. We have M5 trend block and M5. So, it's all that matters, what is it that you would like to do, right? So that's pretty much what it comes down to, the template. You save a template and you should have this as default already. You rename it if you want, default template, and then it would automatically open that chart template as you have it already, save as you want it, right? Right here, this is some features that you can add. Let's say you want only alert on daily mid levels, so if you want based on the columns right here, so if it's above, then you will only get bullish blocks, right? If it's below, then you will only want to get bearish blocks. But the more that you have in true, that means all of them need to actually follow, so you have to be very careful with that, right? So if I can just say just true on this one, and then all I get is alerts based on the mid level, above or below. So then I'll get bullish or bearish blocks on that. But if I choose another one, then what it's going to do is then all of those filters have to be met. Let's say alert with daily candle direction, right? So then it has to be, if I choose this to true, then what that means is that then, hey, it has to be with the daily mid level and candle direction. So if this is above and then this is bullish, then I'm going to get a bullish block alert. So that's why, you might get fewer and fewer alerts the more true that you put in here. So you have to be very careful with that. And let's say over here, maybe you just only want M5 alerts with the trend block in here. So I'm going to change this actually so you understand this. So M5 alerts with the 1H trend block direction. So you will say this. So if you say this to true, then you're only going to get M5 alerts going in the direction of the 1 hour trend block. Okay, so that is really what that means. But if I put this one to true as well, then what this is going to be is that these both must be met in order to get an alert. So then you might not get too many alerts, okay? This is just that, if you want to get kind of filter out some alerts in here. Okay, so now this one, show H1 blocks, maximum days old. Okay, so if it's 0, that means it's today. If it's 1, it's a day old. If it's 2, 2 days old, and so on and so forth. So what does that mean is that if I change this to 0, I only want it, and then let me just kind of get rid of all these pairs right over here so that, I don't have so many. It doesn't take too long. So if I say this to 0, that means it's supposed to only show me any blocks that happened today, right? So on H1, if the block happened today, then it's going to show me that history for that block for today. If it has not happened yet today, then it's not going to show me. Well, you see, so there's no trend block yet that is actually that happened today. Maybe it's like a 2-day old or 3-day old. So that's why it's not showing it to me. So that is very important because we sometimes want to trade fresh blocks, right? We want to be able to trade that, if it's 1 hour that is 5 days old, maybe that's too old, or 4 hours that is maybe 15 days old, maybe that is too old for you. Maybe the pullbacks are not so strong anymore, so that, we're going to talk about this further. But, also for 4 hours, you say, hey, you know what, I just want to trade 4-hour blocks that are like 3 days old maximum, or 5 days old, and so on and so forth. This is the daily block, so you only want to see, if you want to trade the daily blocks, if you want to see only that is 10 days old or 15 days old, that is really up to you. With this one, I don't really trade the daily, but I do take a look at H1 and H4. So the fresher the block, the better it is, right? The better the strength of that block, okay? So if I like to trade maximum 2 days, and then on 4 hours, maximum at least 7 to 9 days, let's say, so 2 to 9. So this is a good combination. Or if you just want like something that happened yesterday, you be my guest and put in, only 1 day old block. So in here is going to represent how old is that block, right? How old is it going to be? So if I choose 0 for 4 hours, and then 1 in here. Let's see what type of information that we're going to get. So that's pretty much it when it comes down to how old history blocks you want to trade or you want to look at, so that when you're looking at this, then it's gonna be better for you to actually see, hey, you know what, you see now we don't have anything. We have a 1 day old trend block. This is we don't have anything that happened yesterday. We have nothing of 4 hours what reversal block. We have nothing in here. So that is up to you. So again, it's really up to the person how many or how old do you want to trade this block, right? Okay, so now that we know that, then in here all we have is you can change the dashboard width and height, right? So the width and height, the width is from here to here. If you don't have too many columns, then you can reduce that or leave it as it is. Or if at the bottom as well, if you put in a lot of columns. Or one neat thing that I like is that actually, if you want to see this as a black background, you just click this on 0 and 0, and then let's take a look at see what happens in here. Let's see if it does it for me. It's not going to do it because I have this as a saved template. So, but if I show you in here, IFX, this is a black template, right here, and I'm going to add in here the dashboard, right? So right over here, this is my dashboard. This is just fresh. I haven't saved it as a template. That's one of the things that I want to show you. So if I click this on 0 on the height and width, then what is that going to do is going to just give it to me on a black background. Okay, so if you want to see a white background, then you have to adjust that. But if you want to see a black background, that would be one neat thing. So what did I do in here was that you can actually save your template. I went right over here to this and I saved this template, IFX dashboard M5 M15. So pretty much what it's going to do is you don't have to type it in again. All you have to do is you save your pairs, the columns that you want, and then it's going to save everything for you in here as a template, and then it's going to open up. Of course, I have a lot of pairs in here, so it's going to take some time to load. But if you save the template, then you have to save the template either as a black background or as the white background. But if you want it, I can't, since it's already saved, it's not going to actually do it for me. So that's one of the things that you have to do. If you want something like this, then on unsaved template, you can actually work that out and change the width of the background of the charts, right, of the dashboard. So if you want something, if you want the white background, you can just type 1000 and 1000. Actually, in here maybe 800, and then that's pretty much it. Then that's how the dashboard is going to come up. So again, that is really up to you what you want to do. So white background, you put it in, or if a black background, you just remove that. Okay, so right now, then in here, if you want to change the font, I know there's some people that have issues when the font size is like kind of too big or too small. So in here, you're going to be able to change that if it's too big, or you go in here to the font size and then reduce the font size to 7 or 6 or whatever font that you want. If you make it bigger, well, can't really make it that big because right now we don't have our cells are too are fixed, so it's not going to fit. But if you like it like that, even if it doesn't really fit that well, you can do so, but the cells are not going to change. This is only the inside of the font, right? So it's very important that you actually know that, but it's up to you. So we're gonna keep this as it is at 9 over here, and then that's it. Then if you want to move the dashboards, to the right or to the bottom, you can do so. But I think, you really can just not do that unless you actually do something with, I'm going to show you later, when you add it to a chart at the bottom of your charts, right? I'm going to show you later when we change the window. So in here, this is the fun part. It's a lot of information in here, I know, but there's nothing we can do. So what is this? What this is doing is this is all the columns that the dashboard has, right? So we have the M5 reversal block, the retest block, the trend retest, every single time frame, M5, M15, H1, H4. So every single thing. We also have the H4 candle, the daily candle, the mid-level, and then right over here, this is something neat. This is showing you the candle if we are above or below a moving average, right? So if you like to trade the trend, I like to see sometimes 4 hours or daily or even 1 hour trend. So I'm just gonna in here this are the settings for the period. I actually use 13, so I have to change this to be set as 13, simple moving average. So you can actually change the moving average that you would like, simple or exponential, whatever it is, and you can actually see that if you want to see it on your time frame, right? You can also get alerts if you want. You might get too many alerts if it shows more. I don't suggest this less than 1 hour. 1 hour and above is the best. And if I say this to true, then what it's going to do is going to add it up in here. So it's going to tell me H1 moving average, and then I'm going to know if we're above or below the moving average. So this is a really cool strategy that I have based on H1 that I'm going to give it to you later on the videos, using the H1 only information, H1 block, H1 reversal block, H1 source retest, and the mid-level, and then the H1 MA. This is a really, really cool strategy that I have. But so, again, in here, all you have to do is play around and see what type of columns that you want. So I'll give you an example. If you're a person who likes to trade scalping, so you choose the reversal block M5 and the retest M5, and then you want to see how find, like H1 trend, right? So you trade the H1 trend with the mid-level. Or maybe you don't want to see that. Maybe you only like to trade H1 and H4, so you can just choose H1 and H4. I mean, there's like endless combinations in here. Retest, you cannot put it on their own because they are dependent of the actual block in here. So you cannot just look at retest. I try, but it's dependent of the block information in here. So we cannot just do retest, but there's a lot of info in here that you can definitely take advantage of. What else? So that's it, and in here we have this is something that I have to change. This is M5, M15, and higher time frame. So we can actually change the block settings for M5 and M15 to be either conservative or more aggressive compared to the higher time frame, which is going to be H1, H4, and daily, right? So if I want maybe to change the higher time frame to be more aggressive, then I can say 34, and then maybe in here more conservative. I mean, this is something also that I'm going to show you on some strategies that I have. So you can change this around also on your side, the M5, M15, and the higher time frame blocks. Okay, so this is very important, how you actually treat this. So this is pretty much it, with the dashboard settings. So again, you have to know yourself what type of blocks are you going to trade, what type of columns you want to trade, and how old your days, the blocks, this is very important. This is part of the strategy. The older the block, the worse it is, right? You want something that's fresh bake oven, like just fresh out of the oven pretty much. And that's it. So just as a summary, you always if you want to have white background, you put in here the dashboard width and height. If you want a black background, you just make this to 0. If you want to pretty much, if you want to change the text, you can change it in here, how you want to get the alerts. Then in here, if you want to get alerts or not, you make this true to false. This is related to the retest, right? To M5, M15, or H1, or whatever retest in here. This is the main window and the separate window. So this is what we're going to go over right now. Okay, so I'm gonna, since I have 2 dashboards in here working on, I'm gonna get rid of one and have this one right here. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to open here just a regular chart, and what I'm gonna show you is something very simple. So you have two things that I'm going to give you. You have an EA, an expert advisor, but you're also going to have the indicator. So why am I giving you the indicator? Because there are times when you actually would want to have either the IFX EA also playing on the background, or maybe you have another EA. So since you can have two EAs on one chart, then that's going to conflict. So if you have an EA on your chart, then what you're going to do is you're going to then you have to add in, which I'm going to give you, your IFX dashboard, right? Well, mine says version 3, but your version is going to be different. So all we have to do is you drag it in here. You have nothing in here, right? Then I'm going to put in, you have to put in your thing in here. So what we want is we want to attach it to a chart, right? And that's pretty much it. So I say main window, and here I click main window, separate window, right? And then that's it. So I'm gonna click OK, and then it's going to appear right over here at the bottom. Okay, you need to have like a window at the bottom where is an RSI. I also provided an IFX empty window, so it's going to show up right over here, right? The information. So it's going to tell you, this is only great, you want to see higher time frame blocks, pretty much in here if you're actively looking at the chart. So you can do this with the EA, with the expert advisor, but if you have already an expert advisor working on the chart, well, it's not going to work. So that's why you're going to be using this. So it's the same thing. You're going to go to indicators list, and then in here, you're just going to go to edit. And you edit what is it that you want to see. The same thing that we just went over is the same exact thing. All you have to do is change what kind of columns do you want to see, right? So you play around with that, with your columns, right? If you only want to see H4, then that's all you want to see. If you don't, then you click everything to false, right? Everything to false, everything to false, and that's it. If I only want to see H1 and H4. So here it is, just like that here at the bottom, and then you can do that. Also, if you want to move it to the right or to the left, so then that's where this comes in, right? So if you want to move it left to right, so if you want to move it to the right, you have to play around with the numbers, right? So here is moving it a little bit to the right. So if you want to move it like all the way to the right, you just have to play around with it, see where is it that you want to move it around, right? But let's say you don't want to have a window at the bottom. So if you don't want to have a window at the bottom, then I'm going to delete this window. Then my indicator is going to be gone. I'm going to delete it for now, and I'm going to re-add it again. It should be able to come up in here just on the chart by itself as well. So I'm going to add it. Again, you can add in the EA or the indicator itself. It's really up to you, whichever it is that you want. So I'm going to click in here, separate window. We don't want it like that. And then again in here, we want just nothing. Yes, you can have also all the pairs in there, but right now we're going over really just showing you the window. Up, it didn't come up. Okay, so it needs a window at the bottom, right, to be able to actually come up. Let me try the EA, see what the EA does, see if it actually comes up. So I want nothing in here. I want to put it on a separate window. So I'm going to go to OK. Okay, so I do need a separate window at the bottom in order for the this to come up. So that's something that you need to understand and be able to do, right? Can you see any other, let me just remove this. You could add, so let me add a window. So again, it's a window that you have. I actually have IFX empty window. So in here, I could just add it in here to an empty window, and then that's really pretty much it. So let me just add this. Again, I'm going to add in the indicator in here since we have already gone over that. I don't want anything, and I want separate window. Okay, so here it is again. And if, let's say, if I change to a time frame, right? I go in here, if I change to a time frame, oops, it should be able to actually update as well. It's not letting me drag it for some reason. Okay, here it is. Okay, here I dragged it, and then it changed also on pound dollar, right? So it should be able to drag. Once I drag a new pair, it's going to actually update to whatever it is for that pair, right? So it's just very important. What is it that you want to see? What is it that you want, you know? So again, you know, if you want to see this on the chart, all you have to do is click it on, you know, you go to indicators right here. Since I'm using, oops, I'm using, I deleted it. You see, you know, whatever it is that you want to see, right? You want to see how many pairs that you want. You drag it in here, separate window, and then that's it. So that's pretty much it. You know, in here, again, I can actually, I was going to show you that I could add as many pairs also as I want in here, okay? So you could add it to your chart and then do that as well, but you know, might as well just add it in a blank new chart like in here, and then that's it, right? And then that's it. You don't want to have it on a chart like that. You know, I don't think this is necessary, but if you want to do that, you can do that as well. If you want to change the background, then you will also, you know, if you want to change it to a black background, then you can also do that as well. And then how do we do that? You go to the board dashboard width and height, and then you make that to 0, and then that should be able to update and then just give you a blank background, or the background, whatever background that you have on your charts, right? So you can do that as well, you know, if you like that. And if you have any questions, again, we're going to talk about, this is just pretty much the dashboard settings. We're going to talk about more in detail on strategies. You know, I have a lot of pretty cool strategies, you know, especially H1, some of you that sometimes don't want to trade for so long. So I'm going to teach you, I'm going to start with H1 and then go down to M15 and actually M5. I don't really trade M5 anymore, but if you know that's one thing that you like, then you can also as well trade it. But so the dashboard has a lot of info. Spend some time actually looking at it. But you know, this is all we have. This is all the columns that you have available. You know, you can set them to true or false. I mean, there's just a lot of things in here that you can actually help you on your trading. So if you have any questions, please let me know if you have any questions. Write in the comments below, and like the video, and then I'll see you on the Telegram channel.